Hey George,
Hello, Ty.
I've got a question for you.
Go ahead.
WTF?
Yeah, they're blue angelfish. Biotope incorrect.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on here. Anyway, hey guys, Ty Streetman here, and I'm with my good friend George Farmer
Hello.
in his lovely home in front of a
Thank you.
beautiful aquarium, despite the fish choice that he has created.
Beautiful fish, mate.
you-
Excuse the doggies in the background there having a little play.
Playing dogs. If you go on George's channel, you'll actually see the video of the setup of this tank, which was about a month ago
Probably.
or so.
Yeah, one or 2 months ago. Leave a link in the description. So.
Will do. And this was designed as an Ember Tetra biotope, so Rio Araguaia from Brazil, for the Ember Tetra Hyphosabricon amande. And it's grown in really, really nicely, and it looks very natural, apart from these two blue ornamental angelfish, Pterophyllum scalare. Tell us why the blue angels are in here.
Well, the first reason is they really caught my eye in the store, and I am a bit of an impulsive character sometimes, and I really, really wanted them. And I think the reason I really wanted them is not just because they're blue and fancy, is because one of the first fish I ever kept was a pair of angelfish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like not wild, but the wild type, the silver, with the classic silver and black bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the first tropical fish I ever spawned.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I've always had quite a bit of an emotional connection to them, I guess. I just think they're really graceful, and their activity is really interesting. They seem quite intelligent. They're obviously a cichlid, so they're not just a random. I've got platies in the tank next to you, which are just sort of randomly swim around and don't really have much purpose, it seems. But these, they seem to have characters, and they look, like I say, look quite graceful and interesting. And I like the colour. I like the colour contrast with the red, the green, the yellow. Betty, I'm trying to make a video with Ty. We talked about this. We agreed. Sorry.
It's a dog's life. I can see what you mean. They are graceful. They are engaging. I do like the wild type angels. I always find that angels get to a certain size when they begin to be a bit kind of ugly for me. Apart from like the proper Altums and the Rio Nanais.
Peruvian angels.
Which you had years ago.
Yeah.
In that lovely Blackwater tank you did.
That's right.
When I lived in Brazil, I had the angelfish Pterophyllum leopoldi.
Oh, they've got a snubby nose.
Yeah, and they're
short
actually
fins.
They're really fun. They stay small, but they're super aggressive.
Are they?
They're always beating the hell out of each other.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, those fish aside, I can totally understand why they're in here. I think
just to call out, because I'll probably get some feedback in the comments that they're too small for this tank. They're going to go in my Highline 400, which is 100 gallons when they're bigger.
There's. I was looking actually this morning at one of my old Amano books, and he had a 60 centimetre scape with about 10 juvenile angels in.
Oh, no,
I was like, what?
The one you mean.
Yeah.
You should try and get some footage to show.
See if I can show that one.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the same. They're only going to be in there for a few months, and then they move on.
Yeah.
The scape itself, I really love it. I love the chaotic nature of it.
Yeah.
It's perfect habitat for the fish. There's wonderful cover from the Amazon frogbit, the Limnobium levigatum, and all these suspended aerial roots are doing a filtration job.
Yeah, you can see the roots are photosynthesizing with the purling going on.
They're sucking up excess nutrients, that keeps algae down,
Yeah.
provides nice surface cover for the fish so they feel secure. The Helanthium bolivianum that we planted is scrambling all over.
Quadricostatus.
Sorry. Sold as Quadricostatus. Taxonomic correct name.
Tropico 1-2 grow.
All right. Bolivianum. Part of the Bolivianum complex, I think. That's what Crystal Castleman would describe it as.
Oh, okay.
Because you get all sorts of variants depending on geography, because it comes from all over Latin America, which is obviously a massive continental space. But the tropical version is sold as Quadricostatus. Great plant, goes by runners, scrambles all over the place.
I've thinned it out a couple of times already.
I'm sure it just
even with
goes...
no CO2. I will say also, which makes it super beginner friendly, it's just a plain sand substrate. There's no substrate additives, no nutrition capsules, no underlayer.
All you're adding is some tropical fertilizers?
Yeah, I actually do. It's quite heavy dosing because it is so nutrient hungry, especially with the floaters.
Sure.
I am dosing 5 ml of the Tropica Specialised
Okay.
every day.
Okay.
And because otherwise you really get pale growth on this and obviously on the frog bit as well.
Well, looks great.
Thank you.
And the inclusion of the Ludwigia, you commented, oh, this isn't biotope correct, but Ludwigia again is a large family. There are Ludwigias found across Latin America.
Okay.
I've collected various specimens in the wild, and some of them kind of look like this.
Okay,
So
I'll take that then.
it looks nice.
Yeah.
The way the wood is, the tangle, there's chaos, but there's charm.
Yeah.
There's a sense of flow still.
Yeah.
And you can see this is a really great space for the fish to inhabit. They're confident, they're happy, they're out and about feeding right now. I think it's fantastic.
I really love it, and I love. I'm a bit of I like my colours, and I like my colours to kind of harmonise or contrast. So I really like the teal and the orange. So
Yeah.
the blue teal, and then
It's a pleasing aesthetic.
quite when you look at a colour wheel, they're proper opposite each other. So you get that thing, and then the graded.
So this is a light ground graded foil,
Yeah.
orange to green.
Yes. Yeah, with actually two foils.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've got an orange to yellow and then the green to yellow, and then I've overlaid them onto each other, and then that's created a more of a less light penetration, because we're not actually running particularly high light, and especially for filming and photography, what can happen is the backlight actually is too overexposed, and then the rest of the scope is underexposed. So it's just a top tip. If you get the opportunity, you can actually overlay the foils on each other, and then you can get that really interesting the colour grading from the orange to the green.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the Light Ground are actually bringing out a new product, which is a graded foil that doesn't need a light panel behind it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
they said they're going to send me some. So
That's a good
I'll be
idea.
able to feature, yeah.
Because then you could backlight the tank, the wall itself.
Yeah. Well, you don't need any lighting behind it.
No.
So the idea is it's more cost effective,
Yeah.
but you can still get the nice effect.
Yeah.
And they're going to do a blue to white, orange to yellow, and green to yellow.
Yeah.
And I use these a lot in my Aquatic Habitats book project, which we did together for the biotope displays. And it really brings them to life. And like with this display, if you just had a black background or a plain one, it would be perhaps a bit flat. But with that lovely color grade, it just lifts every other color. It creates the contrast with the dark hardscape. The fish are nicely silhouetted. It's a really nice vibe, actually.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I think it's quite unique. I've never created an aquascape like it, which has been really focusing on making it colourful yet vaguely habitat correct.
No,
So it's one or two species. It does have. Sorry, Tom is getting caught up in the microphone. It does have some Sagittaria in there, which I think is just starting to pop up.
yeah, we planted that in the back, and it was sort of not sure about
There
it.
is some Myaka fluid. Not Myaka. It's the Myriaphyllum
Guyana. Yeah, we put some of that in. That's not really done much.
Otto that's trying to commit suicide.
I saw him earlier.
I think he's okay. He's just
He was
a bit
breathing.
scared. Yeah. Come on, mate. You're going the wrong way.
He's buried himself.
Yeah, he's
Otters will sometimes do this if they get startled. They'll slam down into the substrate, which is actually a flight response, which I've seen in the wild. When I've startled a group of them off a log, they all just charged into the silt, and the issue is they can get stuck, and they sometimes need a helping hand. So
this is a good example of how long the roots can go.
So the reason that this plant is such a great biological filter is because the leaves are above the surface. They have lots of constant access to carbon dioxide, CO2 in the atmosphere, much more than in the water column. So they can grow really quickly using that CO2, and then they've got the suspended roots in the water, so they can suck up nutrients from the water column. So you've got this sort of double strategy: pull in loads of CO2 to expand the leaf size, suck up loads of nutrients through these long roots.
If you look, if you get some macro footage of the roots, you'll see the tiny hairs.
Yeah.
The surface area.
You can even see them on just with the naked eye.
The surface area of the whole kind of plant is absolutely massive, and it's no wonder I'm having to dose so much fertiliser, because there's obviously none in the substrate, and I'm not particularly overfeeding. It's not particularly high fish load.
But if you think about, even from a cost perspective, you're not using a CO2 system on here.
Right.
You haven't spent loads of money on fertiliser, soil.
No.
You buy your fertiliser every couple of months.
Yeah. You could literally use play sand from a DIY store,
Yeah, yeah.
wash it very first, 1 or 2 pots of the 1-2 grow,
Yep.
because you get like 20.
Yeah, we
20
only used 2 or so.
Yeah, you can get 20 plants, 10, 20 plants in one pot. A couple of stems of Ludwigia. The hardscape's probably the most expensive decor item in here. Just one pot of the floater.
Yeah.
The lighting's cheap, just any cheap daylight spectrum LED, 60 centimetre. I mean, the most expensive thing here in reality is the aquarium and the cabinet, but you can obviously replicate.
Some nice glassware.
Yeah, you can do
whatever you like.
Much cheaper than this. I'm just very lucky to be kind of supported by Oase, of course.
The light background is an expensive element, but as I said, the company, the Lightground, are going to be bringing out these graded foils that don't need a light panel behind it. The other thing I like about this display, George, is that it's a really great template for a massive range of South American tetras or pencilfish. You know, you could put many different Amazonian species in here, even species from Pantanal wetlands. You know, one, they would be happy and at home in it. 2, it would look like a number of the habitats they might explore. Particularly in the wet season, you get these sort of flooded riverbanks, and because the water is nice and clear, because as the water rises, the current slows, all the suspended sediment sinks, that clears the water, more sunlight can penetrate, and then you get an explosive growth of aquatic plants. So this sort of makes me think of almost like a shallow bank of a lagoon maybe, and wet seasons come, plants have colonized. They were on the bank growing immersed, now they're underwater, they're growing in their submersed form. Fish have moved into this newly flooded habitat to take advantage of the resources that's there, food and cover, and it looks really natural. I think it'd be a great project if you set up something like this, if you really wanted to breed tetras.
Soft water.
Soft water. When they spawn, they like to eat their eggs, but if you have a plant like the Helanthrium here, creating a carpet, lots of the eggs will fall down into that. The fish won't be able to get at it, and soon enough you'll probably be seeing fry here and there. So it's a tank that can be a biotope project, a breeding project, or just something really nice and ornamental to look at. So.
What would you, if you wanted to do anything to improve the overall system or layout?
Apart from remove the angels?
What do you think to the angels? Let the audience decide.
I would perhaps maybe reduce the floating plants and put some taller species, maybe more of the Sagittaria, maybe even some other Echinodorus, Amazon swords in that corner there. But otherwise, I just really like it. This is exactly the kind of tank that really appeals to me.
It's the most surprising tank that I've done in a long, long time in terms of like the aesthetic appeal combined with the functionality, you know, in terms of like making it suitable for the fish.
It works really well. And it's vibrant, you know. It's like having a warm fireplace in your living room.
I'd say the same now.
So, well, I just wanted to show you guys this lovely creation that George has made, and it's a sort of update to your video, which I'll link into there. And maybe this might tempt you to have a go at doing your own project that's along similar lines, something quite simple, but really organic, really natural.
And cost effective as
Cost effective and really great habitat for your fishes. And so George, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting us have a chat about this tank.
Thanks for coming, mate. Thanks for the original inspiration. It was your idea to do the Ember Tetra thing, and I just sort of went with it, and then I did some blue angelfish.
Well, we do have to give a shout out to Maidenhead Aquatics
Woodbridge for the Embers.
For the Ember Tetras. Where did you get the angels?
They're from Huntingdon.
Maidenhead
I paid full price for them, so they don't get a mention.
They don't get a mention. They just anyway, that's what happens if you don't sponsor us. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and have a really great day. And
thanks for watching. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Cheerio.